And new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor. Tonight we are joined by Alex. Alex, how you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we're also joined by Andy. Andy, how you doing tonight?
Trev, good. How you doing?
And we are here with the episode 5 recap show. And before we jump into it, I feel like this was a good episode. You know, coming off kind of a weak episode 4, I enjoyed the episode. I don't know what you guys thought. So Alex, initial thoughts. What'd you think?
Completely agree. You know, we were all kind of in agreement last week that the episode was average, and you're going to have some average episodes. And we figured that because of that, episode 5 would be better. And I think it absolutely was. I mean, I feel like it was just very solid throughout. You had good pacing, good challenge, good drama. It wasn't a lot of stupid stuff. Good elimination at the end. I would say very, very solid episode. That challenger says 10 out of 10. I would say it's up there. I feel like, I don't know, I'm thinking back to episode 1, 2. I feel like we haven't had any earth-shattering episodes yet, but I feel like they've all been mostly good. This has been a good season, and this was another good episode.
Absolutely. Andy, what was your thoughts?
We needed a good one after last week, and we got it. I mean, Plain and simple. It was a good mix of a good challenge, a lot of good drama, but it wasn't like BS, Josh yelling at Jay drama. It was very productive to the game. It was very good, top to bottom, good elimination. When it ended, I was like, oh, it's 9:30 already. Whereas last week, 30 minutes in, I was like, all right, let's wrap this up. But great episode.
No, yeah, I thought the pacing, like Alex said, was really well done during this episode. I thought it flowed very well. I thought the challenge was interesting. It was something different. And then we had the little drama, maybe a little too much foreshadowing in the beginning of the episode. But then, I mean, the elimination speed, all that was, I thought, fine. But, you know me and, Andy's opinion, we want the 60-minute episodes back. We don't want these 90-minute,
bring them back
episodes. So we got Little Boogie back join us tonight. We got Mikey the Doctor in the house. We got that challenger back as well. So we are live currently on Periscope and YouTube. Feel free to hop in the comments section, say whatever you want. We'll read it off, and we'll have a fun night. So it seems like everybody's kind of enjoying this episode. Mikey the Doctor, on the other hand, said it was more of a middle of the road show. And I mean, I feel like this kind of it was a good episode, but for me, it can get lost during the season. I feel like definitely that, there were some moments or whatever that stand out. I mean, obviously Big T gurring at the camera and stuff like that. I mean, that's classic, but I just feel like now's the time we always bring up every season, the classic 4 through 8, 4 through 8 is just awful. It's just lost in the sauce kind of thing. So
yeah, I feel like if you were to ask me, once the season ends and you were to say, episode 5, what was the best moment from it? I couldn't pull something out. But if you were to ask me what was the worst part of it, I couldn't pull something out either.
Absolutely.
It was just very well rounded throughout.
Perfect. So let's dive right in. I think kind of the first thing to happen was kind of the initial backlash of good old Fezzi's decision going against Nelson. We had Corey pissed. I mean, Corey had a right to be mad, I think. Obviously they thought they were all boys. It's kind of like Adam going into an elimination against one of us or something, we'd be pissed. But why was Josh so mad? I just don't understand.
I don't either. I think part of it was maybe because if you remember back to last episode, and we talked about this, where who was it? Devin and Tori were making the decision, right? And they were thinking about who they were gonna pick. And Josh was like, "Oh, let's go." And then they didn't say his name, and he was all mad and all this. So I think it kind of came from that. But yeah, like you said, it was mainly Corey calling out Fessy, which it should be Corey because he's Nelson's best friends. They're the Young Bucks. They've been the Young Bucks for a few years now. And so it was Corey calling out Fessy for his move. And then Josh kind of came from the rafters like Scrappy Doo, trying to hop in on it. Who knows why? I think his point was that he was also asking Torrey to get thrown in, but like so did Fessy. So that kind of negates his argument. And I think he was also assuming that he would have beat Nelson, which I don't think is a good assumption. So I don't know. Yeah, Josh was just classic Josh. It was not surprising at all that he tried to get in on that.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, J.S. Paul kind of said it's for show. And I mean, Josh knows how to get around the camera, the big brother-esque of the world. He knows how to play that game. So, I mean, fair play to him getting his TV time. He's probably going to be coming back in the next season. Would you guys want Josh back? I think I don't mind Josh, honestly. Chat, what do you guys think? Would you want Josh back? Alex, you take the floor first.
I mean, I'll go first real quick, and then I know Andy hasn't gotten his thoughts in yet. But I would say Josh, I don't mind having him on a season because he is this, somebody to laugh at easily. But maybe take a couple seasons off. Maybe let's, they pump these out to a year. Let's have Josh take a season off, then come back and start crying on our screen. Like, I like the Josh shtick, but let's just take a quick break.
Yeah, Andy, what's your quick thoughts?
I agree, and it looks like the chat is agreeing as well. I mean, it still baffles me. Like the MTV continues to bring back someone like Josh. It hasn't brought back Kenny in 5 years. I mean, there's so many other good competitors out there that are more entertaining, more fun to watch, and yet Josh is the definition of like a bottom of the barrel type of guy, and he's one of the staples now. I mean, come on.
I don't know if you can say he's a staple of the show.
I think he is.
Where someone's got to look up, Alex, I know you're kind of our challenge historian. How many confessionals has Josh had? I feel like he's got to be up in the top 5 for guys at least.
Like maybe this season?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think just the fact that he's been on every season since he started.
Yeah.
And it's been 4 or 5 I think this is his 4th season. His 4th season in a row from your rookie season. That doesn't happen a lot. I think, unfortunately, he is starting to creep into that staple territory.
He really is, and it sucks. Because he sucks.
All right. Any other comments about Josh? Seems like everybody hates him. I mean, we had comments about Tanya taking his place. Kenny and Evan can't come back because of a toothbrush incident or something. I don't know, Andy. Do you know anything about that?
What did you guys think about Corey calling out Fessy? Because I thought that was a good scene, and the whole house was watching. You gotta love that.
I mean, those scenes are always classic when one person's going at one person, and then you have like CT in the background just acting like he's eating popcorn or something. They're just like, oh, shit's gonna go down. Camera crew all swarms in. There's probably like 5 cameras there, all lined up right in front of, they're just lifting at the, it was like 12 o'clock at night or whatever it looked like, and they're just lifting. I mean, I don't mind it. Corey deserved, like I said earlier, Corey deserved to go at him. I think what he did was completely wrong and stuff. Especially the alliance. I mean, there was such a better time to go in. I know you want to say the headbanger, the hall brawler, whatever, but still. Bad time for him to make that move. And it also screwed over Torrey, which we'll get into. But Andy, what were you going to say?
I actually thought, aside from like Corey just having to pick up for Nelson, I actually think it was a good challenge move too, because Corey is literally isolated right now. And by him calling out Fessy like that, I think he just kind of naturally gets some more people supporting him, saying like, yeah, that was a move. Yeah, we're with you. Not necessarily like we're an alliance together, but I think they can at least see his side of that, and that I think that'll help him for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Alex, any final remarks?
No, I thought it was good, and as you were saying that, it kind of reminded me of the scene. I think you'll know this, Trev, and maybe somebody in the chat might be able to correct me too. But I think there was a scene, maybe it was Rivals 3. When everybody was listening in to an argument. I think it was I'm just thinking of the scene where it showed like the 4 guys like leaning over and they were looking over each other's shoulders. It was like,
Bananas on the little step.
It was like Bananas and Vince and Leroy, maybe Little Johnny, I think. I think it was like Camilla versus Amanda or somebody like that. Like it was just a classic, like, first few episodes fight. You know, the girls were going at it, and then they just had that classic scene of, like, the 4 or 5 guys just looking over each other's shoulders and just, like, taking it all in.
God, it's classic when that happens. It's just full smirk when you see, you know, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, and then so the only other thing before the challenge was, and maybe we'll just get into this later. Boogie Brown does say that was Rivals 3. And this is just a classic challenge foreshadowing, where something before the challenge comes up later. There was kind of a group of 4 or 5 girls, I think most of them rookies, talking about how their plan was to take out Tori.
Yeah.
And I think it was, maybe in that room was Big T and one of the Ambers, maybe both of the Ambers, Gabby and maybe one other girl. And basically all they said was, you know, if we can work together, we can, but we just got to make sure one of us wins it, and then we're going to aim for Tori.
Yeah. The thing is, like, that whole scene to me, like, do you think this is just going, like, way off the rails kind of thinking? Do you think that scene was made, like, the day after the challenge? Because there's no way they called that perfectly. There's no way. They literally called that perfectly.
But they had the numbers already.
Yeah, but they made sure, like, I don't know if they just got it at the perfect time or whatever. They made sure Big T was like, I'm taking Tori out, basically, during that time. Like, I'm going to vote her in, which meant Big T to win that challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just felt like it was too good to be true to happen at that moment. Because how many times has Big T won a challenge? And for her to even speak up and be like, oh, we're going to win this challenge. She's won 1 challenge, and not to mention, she went home because of it. She broke her toe because she celebrated too much about it, which, I mean, she was celebrating a little too hard.
What challenge did she win last season?
God, I have no idea. That's a question for Boogie Brown.
Boogie, what do you got, Boogie?
Definitely need that.
I mean, because I'm trying to think, last season, was it like 1 person wins the challenge or 2 people? Or was it like a group of people that won? I can't remember.
She won 2 on Total Madness. Boogie Brown's saying, I don't remember her winning that much.
But she did. She won 1 and then messed up her foot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the one that I only remember. So.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Should we go into the challenge?
Yeah, let's dive right in. And thanks for joining Loved by You, first-time listener. Hopefully you come back.
All right. And Boogie, we're going to need your help all episode long correcting some of you are a true challenge historian so far. So we get into the challenge, and before we get into our thoughts on what the challenge was, what do we think about Ashley coming back? I personally, I was a fan of it.
Well, before we want to talk about Ashley coming in, how about Natalie just leaving?
Oh, yeah.
God, I thought she was one of the strongest girls in the house, if not or I want to say the strongest. She was definitely a top 3 strongest girl in the house. Who's stronger? You can't say Tori after tonight.
Lolo.
Agreed. Cam. And
Anissa.
Okay. Stop it.
So we did have one person in the old Twitter replies tell me that it was Natalie left because she was pregnant.
Oh, and now J.S. Paul just replied she had a miscarriage. Wow. I did not know that. God.
And obviously, you know, we saw, what was it? It was last season, right? With Melissa.
Yes.
So we know that that's a possibility, that they're somehow not, you know, getting these people off.
That's not the test. They'll test them for COVID a million times, I'm sure, but not a pregnancy test.
Which, yeah, especially coming off of another season where you just had someone compete an entire season, I feel like you would want to get like at least one of those tests done. But, you know, that's just me. But, all right, continue. Wow. Natalie leaves. You know, I did not know that. It kind of sucks. But we had to bring in Ashley. What did you guys think? I'm fine with the move. I like Ashley. You know, she kind of stirs the pot a little. Got that country accent that just flies everywhere. But, you know, it is what it is with her. So what'd you think, Alex?
I was a fan of Ashley. I mean, you kind of got the feeling, and they've done this maybe 2 or 3 times before, where they bring back somebody who's been eliminated. I know Devin was lucky enough to have that happen to him. And so then I started thinking, girls who got eliminated this season, and the only one was Ashley, because everybody else is left because of other injuries.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I'm fine with it. I don't usually like somebody getting a second chance like that, but if you're going to give somebody a second chance, give it to somebody like Ashley, who makes for good TV.
Yeah. Andy, what you think?
I'm good. I'm a little more relaxed now. I thought it was okay. It wouldn't surprise me because I feel like everyone's dropping like flies. So I felt like they needed to bring someone back. Ashley was a good choice. I like Ashley. I think she's pretty hot. I think she's a good competitor. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I do think, and she kind of talked about this a bit in terms of like she's going to try to like keep her mouth shut, which is just not really the Ashley MO. But if she does, I think it's going to help her out because she kind of got it tossed out first.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do want to bring up, because I was going to bring this up, and Mikey the doctor kind of just brought it up. So Ashley got sent home. Do you think she was still there, or do you think she flew all the way back to compete? I was thinking that because it's been 5 episodes.
That was the first thing I thought about too.
I would say I would not be surprised if she stayed, because after her episode, I guess that was still episode 4 when 2 girls went home.
I bet they send them. Because they know that, because you could say they could pull from anyone, but they know Ashley was willing to commit to like a 2-month span. So even though she went home in week 1, they still knew that she was available. So instead of trying to find someone else, they could easily just put her back on a plane.
But the reason why I don't know about that is because if they sent her back to America, do you actually think she would still have to do all these tests again for COVID? And,
well, Loved by You said she was still there. She said it on Instagram.
There we go. Love by You. First time listener giving us all the facts. That's what we need.
Yeah, I think especially with these challengers who have won, aka the challengers who have money, like her and Bananas and others, I think when they get eliminated, they kind of hang around for a while and they go to all the countries that are close by and everything. I mean, fucking Bananas, wasn't Bananas brought back for what finale was it? Wasn't he a mercenary on a finale?
It was Vendettas.
And that was that when
he stayed there the entire season.
And maybe Boogie knows, but wasn't that when him and Melissa kind of tapped it out, right?
Him and Melissa. Baby Bananas? Who says no?
Well,
Kyle's been known to be the father, but
somebody in the chat was saying it's baby Kyle.
Or yes, yeah.
I mean, we all know that, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So yeah, I would say she probably was vacationing or whatever. She was still in the area, and then they were just like, yo, like, we need you. So
all right, so what do we think about the challenge itself? I think I was a fan of this one. It was very simple. There was 2 heats, I think maybe 6 or 7 teams each. You pull the rope up, grab your partner, and then hang after that. I was kind of confused by the rules at first, but then once I saw it happening, it made a little more sense. And I was a fan of it because it was just basically how well can you do with it? It was a little bit of teamwork, hanging on to each other, but I liked it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a classic, how long can you hold someone up for? I mean, even if you got to that point, I guess Corey, I don't think Corey even got there. I think there were 3 teams or 2 teams in the first heat that didn't even get a chance to hold. And then I think only 1 team fell it was Corey and Ashley who fell in the second heat. I don't exactly remember the heats. But I enjoyed it. I mean, it was something different. And like some people have already thrown in the chat earlier, thank God we didn't have any drones or anything like that. It was a very clean episode, very easy to do. I was surprised. The only twist I think I would have done would have been something like you hang on to your partner, but it's like a trivia. Like, you know what I'm saying? So instead of the rope part in the beginning, because the rope part's kind of like, I feel like it'd be an advantage, like if you do the rope part as last as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're not holding.
So explain it to Andy. I know the rope like kind of got you like qualified to make the hold, but is that really all it was? Like, You had to pull it up by the time TJ hit that thing, and then it's go time.
So when they were pulling it up or whatever, they could hold on to like a balcony.
Yeah,
it was like which they could still hang on if their partner wasn't there. It's just a lot harder. But yes, like you said, they just had to pull the rope for qualification, basically. But that's the thing. Like some of these, like I think it was like Nietzsche and Amber were like the first team to push, go through all the rope. You might as well wait until, more teams come and then you grab your partner, or you're just going to be like sitting there for 20 seconds or whatever. You're going to be sitting there for 20 seconds and, TJ is not hitting that button. So I felt like there was kind of like a pointless, you had no bonus points for, being first or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is just in terms of operations of how this challenge worked was like, let's say, you're the first guy who pulls all the rope through and you can see that everybody else is still pulling theirs. So, TJ is not blowing it anytime soon. It seemed like all the guys just like instantly kind of got down in their squat and grabbed their partner's hand, even though they weren't pulling anything. Cause obviously the girls were still standing there, but I was thinking like, why even like just wait, like just stand up, like stretch, get loose, get ready to go instead of like getting down to what they were doing. Because there's really no use for that because the girls were fine.
Absolutely. So I thought it was just kind of weird, like that whole like transition part of the thing. So, but like Mikey the Doctor pointed out, I know someone said it earlier, Darrell, very disappointing. Like, I cannot believe him. Fezzi, another person, horrible. Was there any other people we were kind of shocked by?
I don't think so.
I mean, Corey surprised me. Didn't Corey not even get the rope up?
Yeah, Corey couldn't even get the rope up.
Yeah, because Anissa dropped. I mean, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ashley dropped.
Ashley, yeah. It was Leroy and Anissa.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and Corey and Ashley, they were once teammates. Now they're teammates again.
Shh, we'll get into that.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
So first heat, it came down to first heat was very fun to watch because it came down to Jay and Teresa and Lolo and Nam. It was close, and then Lolo and Nam let go. And then how about Nam just cheering on Jay, even though he had obviously just lost. And then Jay killed this. And this is just an exact challenge that he would excel in. It's kind of grip strength. It's kind of something like weird that you don't necessarily practice, but he would be the guy that practiced this type of thing. I mean, Jay impressed me tonight.
Yeah, I mean, very impressive. Definitely one of the tallest girls in the house. If not, is she? Or I guess Lolo might be the tallest. So definitely had the most. And he's a very small guy. I mean, you look at what he was competing against, then what CT and Big T. I mean, it's night and day. Like,
yeah,
very impressive. One thing I do want to point out is kind of ridiculous. I know we've brought it up in the past, but there's no way there was a 5-second difference. There's no way.
I tend to agree with you.
Is that what TJ said?
You said between those teams in the heats were 5-second difference.
You're saying you think the margin is bigger?
I'm just saying there's no way it was that close. Yeah, exactly. There's no way it was that close.
I was thinking Jay and Teresa were going to win.
I thought so too. The way they showed it was like he was up there for like an hour, just kind of like just holding her, chilling. But I know we brought up, I forget which one of our guests. Who was it? We talked about that. No, guest, like from the show.
Kellyanne?
No, farther back. Guy.
Way back.
Back. Trey was one he brought up how they don't stopwatch anything. So like they don't know their times or anything. He said to us like, who knows like, how long they would have gotten. He was very adamant on that. So I was like, whatever.
Mighty Mouse?
God, watch it. Power of editing, boys. Absolutely. We saw that tonight.
So then I feel like Jay and Teresa was kind of the opposite of what CT and Big T were. Because I feel like Jay and Teresa, like similar body type. Jay is definitely one of the smaller guys, and he's just good at like that grip strength type of stuff. Whereas CT and Big T, I feel like Big T did nothing. Like she didn't have to. And like Teresa probably at least did some because she has some upper body strength. Where I feel like big CT, I think is what they're calling him these days. CT is just this giant person. So I feel like he just fucking sat down like Wario on Mario Party and just kind of held on and didn't even feel anything because Big T is so small and he's just so gigantic.
Absolutely. So
who was? Does anybody remember who maybe was second place for the second heat? I feel like CT won that heat pretty easily.
Yeah, because Josh was basically like, "Yo, give up."
Josh was trying to cut a deal, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Josh is an idiot.
I think he was trying to act like he could go longer than he actually could and was be like,
yeah. And it was like he couldn't even finish his sentence and he was already dropping Nani.
Like CT knew not to agree to it because he could tell that Josh was going to go.
God.
And I think Nani was kind of, she's hanging up there, like listening to the conversation because, CT was saying like Josh, you drop her. And Nani was listening to it like, no. But yeah, CT won it pretty easily in the second heat. And I guess he won it by 5 seconds is what we're hearing.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Josh is such an idiot for dropping.
Josh is such an idiot for a lot of things.
God, yes. Friend of the program.
Friend of the program. If you guys haven't listened to our interview with Josh, I think it was War of the Worlds 1. I think his rookie season, we interviewed him. Good interview. Good guy, nice guy. But I mean, just on the show, he's become unbearable.
Loose cannon.
So big CT wins. They're the double agents. And then we go back into the house, and I think they kind of, this is where it all just blends together in terms of voting and politics and what the house is thinking. I don't have any big takeaways from their little night out. They did their little night out, which now is always going into this little side house, this igloo that they call it. And everybody was treating Big T like a queen. And what happened? What happened with when Tori came up to her? I think I missed that. What did they talk about?
I think Tori was basically kind of just saying, like, not necessarily we should throw in, like, she was kind of basically saying we should throw in her friends, like the weakest people, but trying not to say it. And she kind of did in a way. It was just like, yo, you got to look after yourself. You can't be just throwing these top dogs at each other. You want to have them run together in a final and all that stuff. And it kind of rubbed her the wrong way, which, I mean, we all knew what was coming. Once she won, exactly like Jesse Adams wrote, Tori dug her own grave. And absolutely, I mean, I think her politicking this entire game was really bad. I don't know what her thought process was. I think after the whole Fessy situation, like that was the move that just kind of sealed her fate, I feel like. And I don't know if you guys feel different.
Agreed. No, it's spot on. And Big T essentially asked her, like, where's your head at? And if you went in, who do you think the House vote would make sense? And she was like, Tori was trying to say it in a way that, like, if Big T thought she could have a chance, she could vote herself down there. So Tori was trying to say, like, you got to have someone – the House vote should be someone that's weak, so that way anyone can go in and try to get a skull if they feel confident in doing so. But it was clear as day what she was saying, which was throw in your friends, which had no chance of happening because Tori has no numbers and no power. So she, in a roundabout way, called out the Amber M's, Gabbies of the world to one of their closest alliance members.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, anything?
No, this kind of leads right into the next, 20 minutes of the episode where they start talking about who the House vote's going to be and who Big CT is going to vote for. And I feel like, tell me what you guys think, but when we came back from commercial one time, I think it was Casey kind of narrating over it, talking about where the House is going to go and everything. But it was the first time, and it made me it excited me to pay attention and everything, because I feel like this was the first time where we kind of got a sort of two different big alliances forming. Because I feel like the first few episodes, it's kind of been like, the numbers are always kind of going against someone as opposed to two sides going against each other. And in this episode, it started to become, it was the rookie girls plus Big T, who is it? Gabby, Amber, Big T, and some of those teams going against Anissa, Tori, Leroy was kind of tied in there because he was with Anissa, and then you kind of had a couple floaters like Josh and Teresa and Nani. Fessy was kind of on the other side, but I feel like this was kind of a time in the season where, and obviously this stuff's going to change every week just because teams are changing and everything. But I feel like this is the first time where I got the vibe where it was like two big groups going against each other, and I enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mikey the Doctor put like this season is much different from each other based on the facts the rookies and the new young bucks are running the game and not the vets. And I don't understand why. I mean, we'll kind of like skim forward with this into the voting itself, but some of the votes that I saw tonight was like, why are you burning votes or why are you doing this? Like, I feel like just make a move if you're going to make a move. Like Teresa's vote was just like, oh, I don't want to do whatever. And it's just like I get it. Like, you don't want to piss anyone off or anything like that. Yes. I mean, I know in her situation, what she definitely wants is what happened, Tori versus Nisa. I mean, that was prime A. But for example, why, even before that, why not vote in, round up, because they definitely had the numbers. They could have voted in Tori, right? We all agree. Why not go Tori versus Cam in that elimination? So vote Tori down, and then Big T calls out Cam. Why not do that?
I don't disagree that would have been the smart choice because it was probably the two strongest girls left. I think it was mainly just because these rookie girls wanted to break something up, and they saw the strongest girl-to-girl relationship being Tori and Anissa. Because Cam's kind of, I mean, she's obviously with Leroy. Like, she doesn't have the strongest girl alliance, whereas Tori and Anissa have each other as their number one, and you're not necessarily as intimidated by Anissa as you are with Cam, but it's just put those two together, get one of them out. Obviously, we saw that they got the stronger of those two out. I mean, it was a good move, all the rookies coming together, and it worked. Like, sometimes in this situation, they all come together, say they're going to do something, and then one rookie changes their mind and it switches the whole voting. So, but I was kind of confused, and let's get into the voting, because as I was, taking notes for the episode and everything, I was almost convinced that the house vote was either going to be for Tori and Devin or Amber and Michi. And then I was kind of shocked because Anissa got the votes. And it
almost all of them.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how that name even, obviously, I mean, they're friends or whatever, and I get it. But still, I just felt like it kind of came out of nowhere, which, people are saying, oh, Big T and Cam were friends. I understand. Puts a huge target on her and CT. But if you have the house vote, it doesn't matter if you really want to put, the house vote against you. Also, do you really want Cam mad at you? I mean, if Cam
CT.
But yeah, exactly. And the thing is, the whole thing about Cam and Big T, if Cam goes in and beats Tori in that elimination, then Big T probably has nothing to worry about because she has her old school. I mean, you get voted in. I mean, you're going to have to go down at some point anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I thought it was really smart going the Anissa Tori route because that was the other girls alliance. The girls alliances are the rookies, and then those two, they knew they were cutting that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
great move.
I would have rather seen two top girls go against each other, but I understand. I completely get it that you're basically having. I mean, realistically, Big T pissed off nobody except Anissa in this.
Yeah, and who cares?
Which was it was a good move. Don't get me wrong. I just thought, if you have the shot to go have Tori go against Cam, you pull that trigger. If you're trying to, get one of those top dogs out, I personally think. But Alex, continue.
Well, so that was when Anissa and Leroy get the votes. Kind of a shocker to most of us, but I think we all kind of knew that there was a chance that Anissa would get down there at some point. So should we get into the elimination? I think it kind of led right into that episode wise.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
So we go to the elimination, and what did we think first about the decision? I mean, we're talking about it now, so let's just do that first. So this is when the crowd gets told that is it compromised agents is the terminology they're using. The compromised agents are Anissa and Leroy. And then another thing that we haven't talked about yet is what about, and obviously it didn't happen, but what about CT and Big T kind of making alliance with Lolo and Nam? I feel like because
we'll get into that in a few episodes.
We saw about 1.5 conversations where they basically said, like, you know, if you guys want to go in, like, give us a look, we'll send you down, go get your skull and everything. And obviously it didn't happen. And so I feel like this was just like they got a good team aligned with them for doing basically nothing.
Yeah. Personally, I think like
it's putting the ball in their court, saying, if you want to go down, tell us. If you do, we'll and like it's also like if they would have said send us down, you don't know if they would have, and that's good. It's less blood on their hands. They probably would have, but like you don't have to think about that. So I feel like this is just like CT and Big T paid minimum price for a very good team to be aligned with them.
Yeah, and that was a team that was kind of on their own. Like they didn't really owe anyone anything. They didn't really side with anyone. Now they kind of do. Great move.
CT, political genius? That doesn't seem right.
CT, he had a very MVP spoiler. CT had a very good showing this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Anissa and Leroy get voted down, and then it's up to CT and Big T. I feel like at this point you kind of got the feeling that they weren't going to nominate themselves. It kind of looked like a janky, unpredictable thing. So they weren't going to nominate themselves. I don't know if Big T would have, no matter what it was.
The question I have,
blow me,
you and also the chat, when do you think we'll start seeing the first teams to nominate themselves? Because technically, I'm actually kind of surprised. It like tonight, for example, wasn't a both like elimination. It was just a girls' elimination. Our numbers are back. Like, I'm surprised if we're just going to have, you know, a guy's elimination, let's say next week, and then a girl's again, then guy, you know, whatever, or guy, girl, like all that. Because realistically, let's say like you look down, and obviously CT would have never done it, but Leroy's down there in this elimination, and he's like, yo, I'm going to go against Leroy to get my skull. You know, let's go down. And I mean, same thing happened last week with, who was it? Tori and Devin. Devin doesn't want to go down. So like, why should I, you know? So when do you think that move will be actually, you know, happen, I guess? Do you think anybody will even go down? Andy, you're shaking your head saying yes.
I think they got to, because we saw that happen last year or last season, when once you start getting close and people start having their skulls, you realize, oh shoot, I don't have one. I want to go in. What's interesting though is still the skull count, because there's only 2 guy skulls outstanding at this point, but there's 4 girl skulls.
Yeah.
So that definitely changes that dynamic in terms of, I know for a fact that this is going to be a guys group. I want to go in. You kind of have to trust your partner, because you both have to be willing to go down with the chances of either or both of you going in. So I think we'll see that out of a team that neither person has a skull, and they're kind of like Nani and Josh are the perfect fit for that for me, because they'll both not have a skull. They both play an incredibly scared game, and then they'll say, oh shoot, I need a skull to run this final, and then nominate themselves.
Yeah. And like you said, you know, it was easy last season, to go down. The only reason why I thought it was easy to go down last year was because you knew exactly what elimination it was. It was a guys' week or a girls' week or whatever.
No, exactly.
But now you don't. And that's the biggest thing.
Right.
Like, you're literally you don't know. So that's why I'm like, you know, people are saying, you know, go in there when a rookie guy or girl is down there. But like, for example, next week, if it's a hall brawl next week, and you have Big T and CT down on the chopping block, and you have Josh and Nani, and Nani's like, I want to go against Big T. But, if it's a guy's elimination, like, what do you do?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I don't think there's any, like, the winning team can't nominate just one person to go down, right? It has to be as a team. So Absolutely. I think in order for somebody to nominate themselves to go get their skull, which is the question we're talking about, I think the guy would have to feel confident in the guy that's already in elimination, and same for the girl. And so, like, for those both to happen, for those both to line up, and for both of those two people to not have a skull, because obviously if you have one, you're not going to risk that for anything. For all three of those things to happen, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to see it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just think it's tough to, like, I mean, for example, like last week, Tori's like, oh, I want to go in. Like, you don't know what elimination it's going to be. And I think now that the numbers are kind of like more even, I know like this past episode and the one before, the numbers were leaning towards, a guys and then a girl. So we kind of knew. But like once they're lined up, like you don't know. So let's just get into Big T voting in Tori. Not surprising. Once Anissa's down there, I mean, pretty obvious vote. So the elimination itself, well, first they obviously say it's a girls' elimination. So we got Tori versus Anissa. What'd you guys think about the elimination?
I thought it was good. The one question I have just in terms of rules and everything is, at first I thought it was so the board that they were throwing these cannonballs at, well, I think it was 5x5, so 25 spots. And at first I thought TJ had said that only 13 of these squares were going to break, so it was kind of a matter of luck. But I think as it played on, I think the real thing was you just have to break 13.
I don't know how many.
I think it was both. I think both is correct.
I don't know what the exact amount was. I know there were 13 breakables, obviously, but I'm not saying I don't know if there was, like, let's say 17 that were possible out of the 25 that were breakable.
And I thought, based on the way TJ described it, that I thought that some of the squares were not going to be able to be broken. But then, like, as you watched it, I didn't see any things that got thrown that didn't break it. So I thought it might have just been.
There were a few on the bottom.
I think Tori had one of those.
Yeah.
So there was kind of some randomness to it.
Yeah. I mean, okay. It's like it kind of reminded me of, like, you're doing like one of those Mario Party games where you're trying to break like a rock or whatever, and some of them don't break, so you have to like find the next one and work your way. It was very similar to like that.
Because what I was thinking, just in terms of strategy, is, and I don't know how much this actually came to effect, but was, do you go, if there's randomness to it and some of them are going to break, some of them aren't, do you throw for the top ones first? Because that was the first thing I thought of, because that's going to take the most like strength to get it up there, because that thing is pretty tall. So to like throw one of those balls up there after you've been tugging on this crate, like, why not throw for the top row first, maybe get 1-2 out of the way, and then Absolutely. Go for the lower, easier ones? But it didn't seem like they did that.
The other thing, the two tactics I was surprised nobody did was, one, do that, and two, when they run over to the balls, why not pick up those medicine balls and start rolling them to where you were throwing them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as opposed to just keep walking back and forth.
So you do quick and you get like 5 at a time or whatever, and then you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then go back. I don't understand why they didn't do that. But yeah, like you said, Alex, I was surprised they didn't try the top first. Definitely would have made more sense.
I mean, they were chucking them over their heads backwards.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know how.
Maybe they would have been so heavy that you were going to do that no matter what.
What? You're lagging.
Go ahead.
Oh, we lost you. So what I was saying basically was, welcome back. Do you think, like, how heavy do you actually think those things were? Like 25 pounds a piece?
Probably the big ones. There were some big boys in there.
So 25 by what, 13? I mean, that's my math, because there had to be 13 medicine balls, correct? Because you had
but very different sizes.
Oh, they were all different sizes. I thought they were all.
Yeah, they were different.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Sorry about
that. So then you find the smallest one and you throw that at the top one right away.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's all easy to say now, like that we've seen it, done all that. But in the moment, are you thinking that? I mean, that's the other thing.
I mean, the problem is we have the hindsight bias to potentially factor in, but we also have brains. And these people usually don't. So even though like we can say, yeah, we saw it, we can talk about it after the fact, they're also just idiots. So I don't know.
Yeah. Alex, any other I mean, to be honest, I was surprised Anissa won. I mean, I was surprised Tori couldn't get the thing down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. What did we think about? Like, I think if you were to say Anissa won, that would be somewhat of an upset. But just the fact that Tori seemed to struggle so much with it.
I don't understand. I mean, it's just common sense. Why would you not run with momentum? Like, if you were short the first time, she was just kind of like pushing as hard as possible for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not restart, get that momentum, and then she finally got it on the last time. But it was like she was down like 10-0, which was ridiculous. How I don't know if you saw. It was literally like 12-9. She caught that, like she caught up pretty nicely.
Yeah, I was getting ready. I had the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl, Warriors up 3-1 in the finals. I had those tweets ready to go because Anissa was about ready to choke that, and then I think she had one left and she was able to get it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I was a little disappointed in Tori this episode. In just this entire season, I thought she played a terrible game. I don't know if the whole Jordan thing was on her mind or anything like that. No excuses. Still played horrible. But, I mean, that's back-to-back seasons that she's looked bad. So, I don't know.
And she lost to, I think, Jenna.
Jenna, when she was checked out. She's taking it easy against,
That was when Zach was FaceTiming her, telling her, you better get back immediately.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I think for the episode was the teams, which they switched, right? So yeah. Tori went home. Her partner was Devin, but the first pick of the teams is always the elimination winner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which was Anissa. So she picks Fessy.
I hated that move. I don't know why. I like that move.
I didn't like that move just from the simple fact of now she knows her partner is going to be willing and ready to get rid of her at the first second he gets.
But he already has his gold skull. She's got her gold skull already. You are at least safe for like 4, 5, 6 weeks. Or eliminations is what I should say, not actually full weeks. That's the thing, though. I understand, like, if you want to choose someone else, but even if you choose, let's say, stay with Leroy still has to go down. So, and who knows, what if they win the challenge and they want to go down for an elimination and she gets screwed? I think it's the safe play. I mean, who wants to go against, Fezzi right now? Maybe Corey. Maybe Corey. But I don't know. I think she's in a good spot right now. If he goes down in an elimination, obviously she will get dumped. We all know that. But for the time being, I think it was a smart play. Andy?
I liked it for all those reasons. I mean, at first I didn't like it. At first I was like, what the hell are you thinking? But I actually do think it was a smart move because as long as they can just avoid getting in a whole lot of trouble, it's going to be smooth sailing. And there's a good chance that they'll win a challenge or two. And even though neither of them are going to nominate themselves to go down, they can take a shot at someone. So exactly. She picked, in my eyes, the strongest guy, one of the strongest guys remaining. and they both have their skulls. So I like it.
Absolutely.
I have a question.
Oh God.
And maybe this is too big of a hypothetical to even discuss, but just bear with me. So right now, and fans, if you guys got anything in the chat, let me know. But right now, guys-wise, let's stick to guys. The 3 with skulls are Fessy, Kyle, and Devin. We know now that there's 5 skulls left for the guys. So let's say next guys elimination, 2 rookies, Leo and Michi get voted in. Let's say Leo wins the elimination. Now he has a skull. The next guy's elimination, CT and Leroy get voted in. CT gets a skull. So now you have the 3 guys that have skulls, and then let's say CT and Leo. And then what happens when the next guy's elimination happens and Jay and Josh go in against each other?
No, I don't think they can. I think what's going to happen is you're going to force someone with the skull to go in.
You think so?
Yeah.
They could say, TJ could easily say, like, once 5 skulls for guys, for girls are given out, the twist could be from here on out, every elimination has to have at least one
skull
guy or girl with a skull.
Yeah.
They could just phrase it as a twist, and they kind of don't have to do much else.
Because the way they said it this episode, and I don't know, we've been saying it, all time, like, could there be 6 guys and 4 girls or whatever? I mean, he made it pretty clear there's 5 girl skulls this episode, this season and stuff. So, like what you were saying, the rookie gets it, Jay and or CT and Leroy. So there's your 5, and then Josh goes into elimination versus someone else. They're not giving out 6 skulls. So,
but so you don't think that elimination would just be nothing? Like, we're saying that we think every elimination will be either a new skull earner or somebody having to defend their skull.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I don't see 6 skulls being handed out or anything like that.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think, like, if it somehow comes to that point, I don't think it will, because I think people will start to take shots at, like, a Kyle or someone like that. Or who knows? I mean, people might, the girls, we've lost 3 girls have just gone home.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Maybe a guy leaves or something. I don't know.
Well, or if, like, the writing is on the wall that it's gonna be a guy's day, or it should be a guy's day, but they have a scenario like that, they can always just say, "Oh, it's a girl's day." I mean, they can do that literally on the fly.
Yeah. True.
All right. TJ will always have something ready up his sleeve.
God.
This changes everything.
And then the only other thing is Leroy and Casey are reunited. That's great. Yippee.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
All right. Segment?
That was basically the episode.
That was the episode, right? Yeah.
So before we hop into your segments, I did see this question by Love by You, first-time listener.
That's our first segment.
So, like I was saying, they wanted to know, so many people have been talking about, and they wanted our own opinion on X's 3.
So, yeah, Trev, thank you for starting off the next segment of questions from the fans. And that is the first one to bring up. So, thank you. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, new segment, questions from the fans. Well, first question is the one that Trev just read. Thanks, Trev. X's 3 is something that I've been thinking about myself. I think it would be awesome. I mean, what are your odds-on favorites would maybe be Jordan and Tori. I mean, they were fucking engaged 2 months ago, and they're both amazing competitors. Bananas and Camilla. I know she's, she has the band. Bananas really and anybody will be a good team.
What about little Abe and Cara?
Abe, that's a good team.
Abe and Cara would be just an insane team.
Oh, what about
Cara and Kyle would be a better team.
Jamie and Ashley?
Jamie
sucks though.
Jamie,
I know. Could you imagine?
What about Cam and Theo?
What about
that
Theo
would be
and
a tough team to beat?
What about? I'm trying to think of other people. Cam and Theo. That was a good one.
Corey and Cheyenne.
Corey has a lot of options.
Corey has a lot of
But
options.
we all know we definitely need Tony Raines back in the house.
Tony's got a lot of options.
So who is
Tony
Tony?
and Camilla?
Tony and Camilla.
Tony and we
That
got.
team would be electric.
Hit us up down below. Who else do we think we need? Kyle and Ashley. See, I think I would rather have Kyle and Cara.
Cara.
Yeah, I just feel like they hate each other a lot more. I think Ashley and Hunter. Run that back. Tony and his brother. That's a good one. Could you technically put Zach and Jenna and exes? I don't know. That's kind of a stretch.
Jenna and Corey?
Ooh, Jenna and Bruno. The higher level guys will understand that one.
Ooh.
Well, what happens if you put Jenna and Corey and then a separate team, you put Zach and John A?
Yes.
Well, we've already had Zach and John A.
That is true.
God. Zach and...
I'm trying to think of some of the newbies that we've had. What if you did...
Dario and Ashley, don't sleep.
What if you did one team is Nani and a rotating partner?
Ooh.
First episode, you do Ace-Off, like the keyboard smash. Second episode, you do Chase. Third episode, you do Kahutta. Fourth episode, you do Johnny Riley. I just kind of a rotating door for Nani.
Attaboy Jesse Adams getting the Bruno reference. Boogie Brown said Hunter and Ashley, which is a very solid team. Corey and Kayla, very underrated.
What about Kayla and Bear?
And Bananas and Natalie.
Kayla and Bear?
That's a good – I like that team a lot.
That's a fucked up team. What about what's their names? Oh, my God.
Let me ask this question. Have we had any good hookups this season that would apply for something like this?
No.
Well, Lolo and Nam kissed, which, like, in Lolo's book is essentially, like, of Ashley or Nani going very far.
Georgia and Bear.
Yeah.
Bears? We need Bear back. He's a good competitor. People sleep.
God.
What else we got?
Kyle.
I'm trying to think of hookups from last season, and I can't.
The real question is, instead of X's 3, when are we going to get
Don't you dare.
Fresh Meat 3?
It could not be more needed, Trev. Don't even get me started.
All right, we'll get into it. Nelson and Angela. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a throwback.
That is a good one. They supposedly had a serious relationship.
What about Brad and Brittany?
Ooh.
Oh my God!
I think he was about 20 years older than her.
What about? Hear me out. This is kind of a stretch. CT and his ex-wife. Well, I mean, we had a TV special on that. People forget.
What about CT and that tall, skinny chick that sucked?
Anastasia?
Yes.
Oh, God, from Rivals 2?
Yes.
God.
Bang.
Trying to think.
What about
I feel like
A and D?
You know what team we actually need?
Alphabet.
This is the team.
Or Rogan.
2 people we need
Rogan
back on the show. We'll end on this one because this is the best one. Little Johnny and Avery. Run it back.
Ooh.
Maybe that'll. What about Joss and Amanda?
Ooh.
CT and Laurel. Boogie with probably the strongest team that we've talked about.
What about Nicole and Laurel?
Also a good team.
Nicole and Cara.
Nicole and Cara. This is just out of control. But seriously, when are we going to get Bloodlines too? Kids edition. Tony's kids. Who else?
Corey's.
Teresa now has 3.
Melissa already has a challenge under his or her belt. Or final.
God, that baby. I mean, if that baby's not in a challenge, that is the biggest disgrace of all time.
Well, Cheyenne and Corey's kid's already on TV.
Yeah.
They're getting her ready for the challenge.
Yeah, well, I mean, one already has a final. Think about this. Melissa's child has more finals appearances than, I mean, how many people on the show right now? Like 10, 15? It's scary. Think about this. Melissa's daughter, it's a daughter, right? It's not a boy.
Yeah, daughter.
Has more finals appearances than Lolo Jones. Think about that.
Well, she's a rookie. Come on.
God. Vendettas was originally Bloodlines 2 before they changed the format. Interesting. I don't know how true that is. Was it? I don't think there was that many people that were.
I had never heard that, but it does come from Boogie Brown.
Boogie Brown don't lie. Susie and Jordan, Sarah and Jordan. I mean, we've already seen them in X's too, so don't really need to see that again. Sarah and Bananas. Oh, don't sleep. Rivals 4. See, that's the thing. I think I would rather see Rivals 4 than X's 3.
If we're going for a fourth or even a third iteration of a series, it has to be fresh meat. It has to be.
New.
It produces the next crop of talent for the challenge.
God, but has like Fresh Meat 1 or 2 produced like anybody?
Oh my God. We do Fresh Meat 3, and that will give us X's 3 and Rivals 4 and X's 4 and Rivals 5. And Bloodlines 3.
I like seeing these like WWE Big Brother cast members on the show.
I mean, what's his face? Jacob was from fucking American Idol. He was gone after his first cup of coffee.
Who?
Was Jacob or Jason?
God.
James?
Jonathan.
I think it was Jonathan.
God.
All right.
Was a mix of X's and Rivals, yeah.
We ready for the next segment?
Below me.
All right. Next segment, fan favorite. Fans have been asking for it every week in the chat. This day in challenge history.
Ooh.
So we got a couple trivia questions again. We just look at what day it is, go back to old challenges. 2 things lined up for tonight's episode. If you guys got any thoughts or answers, put them in the chat. I'll let you know who's right and everything. First one.
Before you say something, sorry, I do want to bring out Jesse Adams' thing. Fresh Meat 1 and 2 has put out Laurel, Kenny, Camilla, and Cara. People do forget. They put out Cara with Darrell, and they went home episode 1. People do forget about that, which makes 0 sense. But continue, Alex.
They won Champs vs. Pros.
Oh my God! You know what the equivalent of Champs vs. Pros is? It's called a Mickey Mouse ring. It don't count.
Watch. All right. So this day in challenge history. Again, send in your answers in the chat. I'm trying to think of how to ask this. So on Battle of the Bloodlines, this day in challenge history, it was episode 8.
Please tell me you have another question after this.
I do.
Please.
All right, good.
2-part question. The winner of the elimination on this episode was Jenna. Who did she beat? Episode 8. What girl did she beat?
Do you just always look up Bloodlines, or did Bloodlines like day of the week just perfectly match up?
Yeah,
So,
when it lines up once, it's going to continue lining up.
Episode 8.
I have no idea. I'm telling you right now, Bloodlines, I have 0% chance.
Who did? All right. I'll
I have no clue.
Anybody?
I was going to say Kelly.
It's not Kelly. There's no way.
Who did Jenna beat? Looks like we got no answers from the co-host, so I'll go to the chat. Boogie Brown says Kellyanne. That's correct.
I was going to say that. Boogie is
and Boogie and anybody else listening to the pod, if you haven't heard our Kellyanne interview, go back in our episodes. It was a wild
Paul. Yes, you are right, JS Paul. Boogie is a god.
No, Mikey, it was not the door pushing. That was Jenna beat Camilla's sister in that one. This was the one, I looked it up. This was the one where they like spun on like swings and they got real dizzy and then like tried to walk and then like it was just a stupid elimination. But yeah, Jenna beat Kellyanne. Go listen to our interview with Kellyanne, one of my favorite guest interviews of all time. But the second part to that, and maybe I think one of you guys might know this. I think that Boogie will definitely know this. Is who was Kellyanne's partner that season?
Anthony, right?
Okay, you got it.
The only reason why I know that? Bananas.
Was that when he was talking about the puppet strings?
Yes.
All right. So episode 8, Jenna beat Kellyanne in an elimination. Round 2 of Jesse Adams said Jamie. When I think Kellyanne's partners, I think Jamie too.
Yeah, but that's rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We said that on our Christmas Eve episode and nobody noticed it, but we'll get into that.
All right, wait, hold on. Now I am confused.
Bloodlines. So Bloodlines.
2 different.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but actually the episode where Bananas does this behind Jamie, or behind Anthony, excuse me, is the episode they went home in.
I think so.
This was the episode.
But no, explain it to Andy. Jamie versus Anthony.
Jamie is Kara's cousin that was on Bloodlines with Kara.
Got it.
And then he eventually was Kellyanne's partner on Rivals.
Yes. Okay.
Anthony, I think, Trev, what you're talking about, I think is basically, and we got to ask Boogie to confirm this, but I think what happened on Bloodlines was the way they did the voting was like they went around the circle and voted one person in, and then they went around again and voted somebody else in. And when they went around the first time, Anthony voted whoever Bananas had said, which I guess maybe had been Jenna. And then they were messing with Kelly and Anthony and saying you're his puppet, blah, blah, blah. And then they were doing the puppet strings. And it was just a classic scene. And then TJ's like, all right, who are you voting in next? And then Banana says,
yeah.
All right. Ready for round 2?
God, there's round 2?
Round 2. This is a different challenge. This is X's 2.
Oh.
Thank God.
Episode 2. The challenge was called Rounding the Bases, the daily challenge.
Anybody know who wins this? I know who wins this.
Anybody know what team won this challenge?
Banani. I think.
That's correct.
Because that's the episode.
Wow.
I believe that is the episode with my favorite team wins the elimination because they got last, was Johnny and Avery.
Okay.
I don't know who they beat. I forget who they beat because I know they won one, but I don't know who they beat. Which Boogie, you can clean this up for me. Who did Johnny and Avery beat?
Yeah.
And what, the elimination?
That's the question. So Bananas and Nani won the challenge. Johnny and Avery finished last, so they went into elimination. They ended up winning. What team did they beat episode 2 in the elimination? I'm sure Boogie knows this.
What about was it Dustin and Jessica who were out really early that season?
That was last week's question.
That was last week.
Thomas and Haley. Oh fuck! I knew that. I literally said that. I literally said that last week with the sweat one. Oh my god!
It was Thomas and Haley.
Oh, that's my bad. Thank you, Boogie, for cleaning the work.
Legend
of the game.
All right, so that was it for this day in challenge history. Should we get MVP, LVP?
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually throw it real quick if we can in the chat. If you guys want to tell us who to start for MVP, we'll go ahead and do that. Ooh. Whoever you guys say, we'll start it. Obviously, we do the snake draft, MVP, LVP. Right now, I'm kind of just stalling, giving the chat time to start giving their answers in. I feel like this
Why
episode.
Do you guys hate? Sorry, we're starting reading some of these comments. Why do you hate Thomas? I kind of like Thomas.
I kind of like Thomas too.
Oh,
he's a funny guy.
I think Thomas is pretty punchable.
God. I think. God, I don't even know. I think he's just just a good classic guy. He's just there kind of thing. I think it's all blown up because of the whole Abe situation, and that's why I like it.
I don't think the chat's picking up on it.
Yeah. All right,
chat, which one of us 3 do you want to start our snake draft?
Alex, Andy, and Trevor are the options.
Boogie loves Thomas. Love to see it. J.S. Paul loves Darrell, under the radar, which I don't know why we're not doing radar watch anymore, but, we'll get into that next week. I thought slacking by a co-host, but, all's fair.
Good for Thomas, though. We'll
Jesse Adams, first one to reply. Andy is kicking us off first with the MVP.
All right, go ahead.
Shout out, Jesse. What do we start with? MVP?
Yes, but before you go.
Oh, God. What?
All right. Ooh. As Andy's given his MVP, we'll let the chat pick who's going second out of Alex and Trevor, and then we'll go through the snake draft from there. So, all right, who's your MVP? Alex and Trevor are the chat's options.
It might be the chat after this. I think my MVP is clear cut. It's got to be Queen Big T. I mean, just a great performance. She actually had a plan. It worked out. She was manipulative, but didn't stab anyone in the back. And she was also entertaining. I love Big T. I'm a big T fan. So
wow.
Big T is my MVP, and I thought that was a no-brainer. Shout out to the chat for letting me get that one.
Wow. All right. Second, should it be me or Alex? I guess we have a tiebreaker right now. So Andy, how about you pick?
Yeah.
We'll go Alex. It's a dirty game.
My MVP, Big T was a great pick. I think my MVP, I'm gonna go Corey.
Okay.
And I'm going Corey basically for two reasons. One was the fact that he called out Fessy and did it in front of the entire house. He could have very easily said if Corey was really an idiot, which we know he is, but if he was really dumb and really was selfish and wanted to protect himself, what he could have done is gone to Fessy and say, I know you took out Nelson, but let's, you and I be together still. You have your skull, so I know you're not going to do this to me. Let's, you and I were each other's number ones. But instead, he stuck up for his boy who's now gone. R.I.P. Nelson. Missed that guy already. Instead, he stuck up for himself, and the house saw it. They were drinking their fake drinks, eating their fake popcorn. And so good for Corey on that, calling out Fessy. And I think he still has numbers, but then that leads me to my second point is the fact that he gained a partner, and he gained a good partner in Ashley. At the start of this episode, I had almost forgotten that he was partners with Natalie. And so he replaces her with Ashley, which kind of feels weird because Natalie beat Ashley, but Ashley is a great competitor. And yes, she has a target on her back, but if you remember, the target on her back episode 1 was mainly because they were the only champion team, her and CT. And so now that things have kind of settled into place, people have their alliances and everything, I feel like Corey and Ashley aren't going to be as much of a team target to everybody else. Corey still has a few numbers. He stood up for himself. He got a good partner. So I'm going MVP, and they've been around each other since the real world. People forget that. So I'm going MVP Corey.
All right. I'm going to go. My MVP is going to be Big T. ... partner CT.
There it is.
I'm going CT. And I think CT, because I think he's in a great spot right now in the game. He has Big T as a partner, which is not necessarily is the best girl in the house, but she's starting to round up some numbers, which is nice. Plus, he's still got the vets. Let's be real. There's still vets in the house, even though I understand he almost got eliminated week 1. I understand. But head-to-head, you do not want to go. Obviously, the only time CT was going to go down was against someone that wasn't in their alliance. Wes, for example. Now, once the game becomes, smaller and smaller, does Leroy really want to go against CT? Does, a Devin want to go against CT? Who wants to go against CT right now? Fezzi's already – the only chance you have is if you vote in, Fezzi, or, the House vote goes for him, and then the people who win vote in CT. Would you not agree with that? Who wants to go against CT right now?
Yeah, but could you imagine like if CT went in elimination against someone like Jay? Like surely CT would beat him in an elimination, right?
I mean, for sure. Like we all know that. It's not like Jay.
CT's beatable.
I get it, but I think it's not like. Don't get me wrong. He is beatable, 100%. But there is just this perception of him being a god. Like he is like the chosen one in the challenge. Like nobody ever wants to go against him. He always gets what he wants. I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll choose when he wants to go in. I don't see anybody.
I really like the first part of that. The second part, I don't think people are that scared. Like, granted, I don't think Josh is scared of anyone because Josh is just so disconnected from like reality that his mindset is just so far off. But I think the beginning of that is spot on. CT was calling all the shots for Big T. He was saying, what do you want to do? This is how we should do it. This is how it should work out. But he was very
lagging there, man.
West. You got me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Putting Big T's plan into action and then just kind of stepping away.
Yes, with her calling all the shots. So obviously,
I liked it a lot.
It might have been, just a little this behind the scenes, but absolutely, I 100% agree. I just think he's in a great spot right now, kind of just playing it low key. After that first episode, he had so much heat on his back, and now, that's what I think.
Yeah.
So my LVP tonight, good old snake draft. I think I think we all can agree. I think the LVP tonight's pretty obvious. With the chat, I know you guys are probably going to go different because nobody likes to go the same. But my LVP tonight is obviously Tori. Her performance in the elimination was, not pulling over the cart, especially, it wasn't even like how she lost. It was her just leading up to it with how she's played this entire season, how she literally said, this season that, let's get the weakest girls out, and her to like come out and look weak. That's just a bad look in general. And, to lose to your best friend, it sucks. So I'll let that settle, and you guys can dish out the other LVPs.
Good pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick. And I think going along with that, I think an honorable mention for MVP in that same regard is all of those rookie girls. Amber, Gabby, all those girls who weren't afraid of Tori. Because Tori was like very clearly like talking down to them. And it wasn't like they were too dumb to realize that. They called her out in front of everybody. So good on them for that. So I'll get my LVP. Like you said, I think Tori was the easy pick here. That's where I was going to go. My only backup for LVP, I'll give it to Fessy. I think it's mostly, I think, a carryover from last episode, just the way he, kind of showed himself to the group and everything. If you think about Fessy this episode, it started with him getting called out by somebody in front of the entire house, somebody who he was used to be on his side. So obviously, like somebody's watching that, they can tell that they're not going to want to be aligned with Fessy because he might turn on them. And then you go into the challenge, and he shit the bed. In the challenge, he very easily could have won. If you think about the body types and everything, Fessy and Casey is a very similar comparison to CT and Big T, who won, and Fessy and Casey went home or lost right away. So I think, the challenge he kind of did bad on. And then from there, his Anissa won the elimination, so picked him back. So now he's with, a not so good competitor. Obviously, they both have skulls like we talked about, so he might be protected. But I think the whole house is going for him, and he has a worse competitor. So I think he's much better off right now than he was the start of episode 4 and even episode 5.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Andy, finish her off.
Yeah, I'll bring us home. So I had both of them on my list. Those were my first 2 picks. So I was kind of scrambling to get a third. And I think I like my third pick more than either of those. My LVP for tonight is going to be the veterans.
Ooh.
The veterans are letting the rookies run this game. That's never happened. The veterans have the numbers. but they're not talking, they're not communicating, they're not having this alliance. And the rookies are the ones calling the shots? I mean, come on. Darrell, CT, Teresa, Anissa, Cam, Leroy, Nani. I mean, like, there's all of these people who just need to be on the same page. And what's going to happen is if they don't get on the same page, they're going to start getting, thank you, chat, they're going to start getting picked off. These rookies are going to start picking off Nani and picking off Ashley again and picking off Corey and Josh. And it's just like, are you kidding me? It's the challenge. The rookies never hold power. Like, I don't know if it's just ego or stupidity. I could easily see both from the vets, but they need to recognize that the rookies just sent Tori home. They got to do something about that.
Yeah.
So my OVP is going to be the vets.
Wow. Good stuff.
And I think if you guys saw the preview for next week, what I think might be interesting, and obviously we'll recap it live on YouTube and Twitter, 100% free, is it looked like Teresa kind of got into it. And if you remember, there was like one confessional this episode where she basically said, you know, I'm in a tough spot because I am making friends with these rookie girls. They showed her in the room and everything, but I also have done, you know, I also know Anissa, I know Tori, I know these older Nani, I know these older challengers. And so she's kind of right in the middle. And obviously she's almost like a born-again rookie because she hasn't done the show in so long. And so Teresa's in a tough spot, and maybe that comes to a head next episode.
Maybe. Any other comments about tonight's episode? I see a couple MVPs in the chat.
I had honorable mention for MVP that we kind of talked about earlier in the episode, but I think you got to throw Anissa's name in the conversation. She took out Tori in an elimination, got a skull, and upgraded her partner, and is now with Fessy again. Pretty good performance from someone who I thought and still think doesn't have much gas left in the tank, but good performance from Anissa.
Yeah. Trying to see some other comments that people wrote.
So from the chat, we got MVP votes for Devin, Darrell, another one for Devin, Big T, LVP Tori, LVP Fessy, LVP Michi. He's kind of doing nothing every episode. Yeah, I think that was about it. And like JS Paul says, this was Anissa's honorable mention. This was Anissa's 10th elimination win, so good for her. It only took her 23 seasons to do it, but I mean, that's still in the record books.
Win's a win.
All right.
Anything else? Just one last thing for the chat. Again, when we do these trivia questions, we're thinking about getting you guys in here on the live stream, put you guys on the spot, see how much you really know. I'm looking at you, Boogie Brown. So get you guys on the live stream and see who knows the most about the challenge.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, overall, and I'll let you guys go after I finish, but I mean, overall, I think episode-wise, this is a good one. It was fun watching the episode, good throughout. It was definitely an upgrade from last week. And again, like we talked about, we're in this dreaded middle of the season zone where usually it kind of tapers off a little bit. It goes down. So all we're looking for is to be better than the last episode. This one was. And so let's go. Episode 6 should be better than this one.
Absolutely. Andy, any other comments from you?
No, I mean, I think I'll start my comments or end it how I started. We needed a good one. We got a good one. I'm fired up, baby. This season's looking up. I think it could go any different direction. I'm fired up. I'm all in. What else is new?
Wow. All righty. Well, with Andy being fired up, that is it. That is our the Pod episode 5.
What are your final thoughts?
I mean, I enjoyed it. And you know what the best part is? These comments tonight. I think the comment section deserves another honorable mention. From Mikey the Doctor to JS Paul to obviously Boogie. I mean, everybody's been popping. Love to see it. Some new faces tonight joining the chat.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. So thank you guys seriously for joining the live chat. Like we said, we'll be here all year long, hoping to get you guys on. But thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I've been your host, Trevor. You can follow us on Twitter, my city. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys. Shout out Duffy. Love you guys. Bye-bye.